Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing fantastic. We are gonna dig into this article that I get from the hunting magazines that I am subscribed to because I'm a member of the NRA for now. And there's a section in here titled The Armed Citizen, but I call it on my channel The Safe Citizen. And it just goes through how people in America have used their Second Amendment right to defend their property and lives of those around them. Because the media only presents, gangbangers having shootouts in the street. They never, rarely, if ever, cover the positive side of having self-defense tools. Okay? So I want to do my part in sharing these articles that talk about the proper use of the Second Amendment right. Let's begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And this is the December 2024 version. 3 teenagers set up a hunting blind and decoys early in the morning on September 21st in St. Germain, Wisconsin. As dawn broke, one of the teens thought he saw a deer coming near, but the animal turned out to be a wolf. That wolf was still about 40 yards away, but the teens quickly spotted one very close behind them, and they realized they were surrounded by a pack. The oldest teen, a 19-year-old, got his gun ready, and when a wolf continued to approach and was 8 to 10 yards away, fired once and killed it. The wolf that had been behind the teens then circled around and dragged off the carcass. The teens immediately reported the incident to the Department of Natural Resources. Another hunter who'd been positioned in the area confirmed he'd seen at least 9 wolves surrounding the teens. So that was 9/24/24. So just an example of when you're out there. I mean, wolves are very rare. Their populations are dwindling. Too bad they didn't get to keep the hide. But you're gonna be out there pheasant hunting, turkey hunting, and a predator comes along, and you need to be ready for that occasion. On October 31st, a 59-year-old man in a front-end loader on August 31st, a 59-year-old man in Waianae, Hawaii, began ramming a front-end loader into multiple vehicles at a residence where a family gathering was taking place. Then shot at several people who were in the carport, killing 3 women and injuring 2 others. The man, a neighbor who had disagreements with the family, also reportedly shot rounds into 4 55-gallon drums of fuel he had on the front-end loader. A 42-year-old resident in the home retrieved his own gun and shot and killed the assailant. The armed citizen was briefly detained, but charges against him were soon dropped. And KPUA.net, Hilo, Hawaii, 9/20/24. Okay, so he went and got his strap and then put that insane person down like a rabies-infested dog. After visiting a casino, a woman in Abington, PA, returned to her home around 1 a.m. On September 24th, an unknown man who had apparently followed her, knowing she had cash from the casino, allegedly forced his way into her home, pushing her down and pointing a gun at her. The woman's cries woke her adult son, who grabbed his firearm and ran to her aid. The son shot the suspect in the arm and torso, whereupon he attempted to flee but collapsed on the home's lawn. Police sent the suspect to the hospital and then arrested him on charges of robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, and carrying a firearm without a license. One officer told reporters he believes the woman was targeted. I would say if you're at a casino and you win money, take some precautions. There are bad guys who put a lot of work into this. CBSNews.com, Philadelphia, PA, 9/24/24. So, a son was able to save his mom. Okay? She went to the casino. You shouldn't have been there, because casinos are just a waste of money. In Islam, gambling is haram. But there's a lot of predators hanging out around there. You gotta be super careful. So she was able to be saved. And this is Philly, place I lived. It's a hellhole, a trash heap. In Nashville, Tennessee, around 7:45 p.m. on October 1st, an armed robber allegedly approached a man and told him to remove his clothing. The man began to comply, but when the suspect became distracted, the victim instead drew a firearm and shot the purpose assailant twice. The suspect was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. WKRN.com, Nashville, Tennessee, 10/2/24. So, creepy is like, hey, remove your clothes. And you're like, what? And then he starts to listen, but the criminal, he got distracted. The victim said, alright, this is my chance to grab my concealed carry and pop, pop, put some in him. Now, think about how these people were just minding their own business, and then someone decided, hey, we're gonna prey upon you. That's the American way. American criminals are very bold. You can't cower to them. And there's always gonna be illegal weapons. Criminals have no problem getting illegal weapons, and they don't fear the prison system. So, making it harder for the good people to get firearms is not really going to keep people safe. 2 men allegedly broke into a home in Camden County, Missouri. Around 3 a.m. on October 2nd, a resident in the home shot one of the burglars, a 44-year-old man, killing him. The other suspect fled in a dark vehicle and was still being sought by law enforcement. An officer told reporters that no charges were expected to be filed against the armed citizen. Essentially, what the Castle Doctrine says is that if you are in fear for your life, you do not have the right to protect yourself. You do have the right to protect yourself. And I'll let the attorneys get into the weeds on that. But that's the long and short of it, and in the situation, I think that we're going to find it. OzarksFirst.com, Springfield, Missouri, 10/7/24. So Castle Doctrine is a doctrine I support. Someone comes into your home, you can blast them. Liberals have hated that, and they've created it to where you have to flee. You have to leave the premise, and that you can go to jail for self-defense. I don't support Tim Pool, but Tim Pool has talked about these different doctrines. I have a book from a self-defense guy who was interviewed on Tim Pool's show. And there are some states where the Castle Doctrine doesn't exist, and that you don't have a right to stand your ground. You have to run away and hide, and let the criminals just take whatever they want. I don't have the name of it in my head at the moment, but it's the opposite of Castle Doctrine. Okay? So, it's important to recognize what rights you have. On October 5th in Columbus, Ohio, a 32-year-old man allegedly tried to run over 3 people who were standing on their own lawn because he was enraged about an unspecified argument they'd had. One of the people was armed, however, and managed to shoot the suspect before anyone was struck by the vehicle. The suspect was treated at a nearby hospital and charged with 3 counts of felony assault. Dispatch.com, Columbus, Ohio, 10/6/24. Wow. That's scary. It's gonna ram into the people. A 50-year-old man in Houston, Texas, was in business parking lot just before 7 a.m. on October 10th when he was apparently approached by a man who allegedly attempted to rob him at gunpoint. The victim, however, was also armed and shot the suspect, killing him. The armed citizen was not wounded. However, an investigation into the incident was still ongoing at press time. City of Houston News, Houston, Texas, 10/11/24. So many times we've read these articles where things happen at all hours. 9 a.m., 2 a.m., criminals coming to your home. This is why I always find it strange when some Muslims think that Muslim women are so retarded. that they wouldn't be able to handle the responsibility of firearm lessons, and that if you just stay inside, you'll always be safe, right? It's just not the case. And there are some people who think that, they don't really care. They're like, oh, well, it's the destiny of the law. If she's, R-worded and, hurt by a criminal, like, they have no desire to give their women any better chances at survival because they think it's emasculine. They think it makes you less feminine to have lethal protection to protect your children and your life and your property. So that's also just a cultural thing, because there's nothing in Islam that I have read that says women don't have a right to protect themselves with lethal weapons. 1,000 years ago, a lethal weapon was a knife, a sword, right? So when you look at it, there's nothing that bans a Muslim woman from having a dagger strapped to her thigh while she travels in a caravan in the desert. Fast forward now, where we have, pepper spray, bear spray, all that good stuff. Nothing bans women from having that. It's just that some women they can't even tie their shoes. So people think that every woman is very ditzy and retarded. And some women are, but we have to remember that it just takes, it just takes lessons, really. And hopefully you never have to use it. But I've had someone try to break into my home when I lived in Richmond back in 2008. And I'm glad I had something to defend myself. So, sorry. It's been 2 weeks of being sick. So I have, a great experience with that. And I was home alone, and it was a big black guy that tried to call through the window. And we didn't have any dogs at the time. So, you may think, that you're just perfectly safe, but there's a lot of men who don't care about the safety of women and children. So, be wise. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. I hope that this helps you have a security mindset, and be careful out there, Be careful. Keep your head on a swivel. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and join my blog at www.subscribestar.com/MilhanArchive. Hope to see you there.